All right, week 10 college football breakdown here. Interesting battle in the Big Ten. We've got Iowa traveling to West Lafayette, taking on Purdue. Purdue standard 3.5-point home favorite in this spot. This total's been steamed down for multiple reasons, which we'll get into in a second. It was upwards of 41, 41 and a half just yesterday afternoon here on Thursday. Seeing this steam down all the way to 39, and I've even seen a 38 and a half or two creep up here tonight. So total's getting steamed down. Why is that, you might ask? Aside from the matchup, well, this is a weather game. Winds are going to be howling in West Lafayette here throughout the game, upwards of 20 miles per hour. That certainly would lend itself towards an under. It's also going to be a wet and rainy day, particularly maybe early in this game in Indiana. So two things to consider. I think it's a big reason why this total has been steamed down. I would agree with the under. I'm not going to play it at 39. We've just lost too much value, but I would agree with it from a matchup perspective too. I think Purdue has this reputation of being some high-flying offense. I don't view them that way. I think they're a one-trick pony. You hear the term pass-first offense. I would almost classify them as a pass-only offense, very one-dimensional. And I think Aiden O'Connell had a really good year last year. We've seen him, slip up a little bit this year. This is just not a matchup where I would really want to back a team like this in. Teams like Ohio State, who have a lot of balance, can get after a defense as good as Iowa's. I would argue that Iowa actually played pretty well defensively that day, held Ohio State to under 400 total yards. Specifically where I like the Hawkeyes defensively, it's in that back seven with Jack Campbell at linebacker, some of those guys at the second level. Purdue ain't going to be able to run the ball in this matchup. I mean, they've gotten a little bit better. They've actually got a freshman back who's come along and actually given them just a little bit of explosiveness at least. That's not going to translate in this sort of matchup, though, against what's still a top 5 defense in the country. But I think Iowa's secondary has been really good this year. And on a day where the vertical pass is not going to be there, I wouldn't say Aiden O'Connell's the biggest threat you can go up against. I mean, he's under 7.5 yards per attempt this year. I really like this Iowa defense, and quite frankly, I think they'll be able to hold up their end of the bargain like they have for much of the year. But there's a reason why Iowa's 4-4, and Iowa and their downfall offensively wouldn't be as big of a story if they didn't have such a good defense. We all understand that they're wasting what is a championship level defense, but the offense is that bad. You think Spencer Petras is going to fare well in these conditions? You can put Spencer Petras in dome. He sucks, and that's not going to change in this spot. We all know that, though. The one thing that I think some people still give Iowa credit for is their ability to run the ball. Aside from last week against Northwestern, they have been poor in the run game this year. And I think it really starts up front. We think of Iowa as having a really good offensive line. They're bad at protecting Petras, and they're bad at winning up front and giving those running backs open lanes to run through. They have been very poor this year. I think Purdue's secondary is actually attackable. Certainly not in this matchup, but the one thing that you have to give Purdue credit for, they've stopped the run well all year. They did it earlier in the year against Penn State, did it against Sean Tucker in Syracuse. They did it against Anthony Grant in Nebraska. They've really held that consistently throughout the season. So the one thing that Iowa could have going for them and that they could build off of last week, I don't think that's going to translate either. I mean, what Iowa does against Northwestern is irrelevant as to how they're going to fare on the road in this sort of matchup against a team that's physical and that does stop the run pretty well like Purdue. So knowing that I could have gotten this at 41.5 just a little bit over a day ago and seeing it drop to 39, 38.5, we've just lost too much value on it. I do agree with the market move, though, but just can't play it at this point. As far as a side, I would lean Purdue because at the end of the day, we're not going to get enough out of Iowa's offense to realistically think that they're going to win this game. I can't trust Iowa in this spot. I don't like Jeff Brom. I don't really like the makeup of this Purdue offense either. I think they're very overrated. This is really a total pass for me. I'm going to keep tabs on this total. If this jumps above 41, I will be hopping in on the under, but at this point, it's just been bet down too far. As of now, no official play in this game. All right, before we get out of here, I know you see the shirt right here. Head over to proud90.com for all your golf apparel needs. Obviously, got very unique but comfortable polos with the colder weather coming. Great selection of hoodies and quarter zips. Go to proud90.com and browse their selection. If you see anything you like at checkout, use code Fordham. Going to get you 15% off your entire order. That's code Fordham at proud90.com is going to get you 15% off your order. Support me, support Proud90, proud90.com.